You're welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Grace Tutor, where we solve technical drawing problems, and we also provide information that are useful for you to do well in your exams. And if you are looking at the screen, you will see what I want to do here is all about technical drawing marking guide. You have not seen technical drawing marking guide before. You don't know how your exam, your paper will be marked. So what I want to do here is to let you know how your paper will be marked and what you are supposed to do so that you can do well and have good scores that will give you a better grade. So that is what I want to do now. Now, looking at the screen, this is technical drawing paper 2, which is titled SA or geometry. So all the questions that will be given here will be on geometrical drawing. As I've explained before, paper 1 is objective, 30 general questions on geometrical drawing, then 10 building drawing and 10 mechanical drawing. And don't forget that you have to answer 40 questions in the paper 1, which is objective. So it's either you choose, after you have answered the first 30 questions on geometrical drawing, it's either you choose building drawing where you have to answer 10 questions, or you choose mechanical drawing where you have to answer 10 questions. So paper 2 is on geometrical drawing, which is titled essay, and as you can see on the screen, that the maximum mark obtainable is 60 marks. And here we have that candidates are to answer 3 questions only. 4 questions will be given to you, and you are expected, as instructed here, that you have to answer only 3 questions. Now, this question that you see, or the solution to this question that you see on the screen, this is a solution to the particular question given to the students, and it has to do with auxiliary views. Now, so this is the solution. As I said, this is the solution. Then we have the marking guide here, how this question will be marked, or how this solution is marked. As you can see here on the screen, that auxiliary elevation, and we have A, it is divided into, I think it is divided into 2, part A and part B. So in part A, as we have here, that copying the given views, So in the main exam, the views are given. This particular view is given, and also the plan was also given. So this was given and this was also given. So that is what they mean by copying the given views. Now, for copying the given views, so what are the things that were expected to put in your drawing, in your solution? What are the things that you're expected to put in your drawing or in the solution that you have to provide? So Roman figure 1 says that for drawing the ground line X, Y axis, half mark. For drawing the ground line X, Y axis, half mark. So where is the ground line X, Y axis? Here is it, X, Y. So for drawing this line, you have what? You have half mark for that. Then Roman figure 2 says that for drawing the front elevation, 2 vertical, 3 horizontal curve on the ground line, you have 1.5 marks. Now, for drawing the front elevation, this is the front elevation, 2 vertical lines. So here we have a vertical line here, and we also have a vertical line here. 3 horizontal lines. Here we have, this is the first horizontal line, and this is the second horizontal line, and then the third one, the third horizontal line that we have here. Okay, so probably they mean this line, so the third horizontal line. Okay, now This Roman figure 3 says that for drawing the plan, 2 vertical, 2 horizontal, and 3 hidden. So 2 vertical lines. Here we have the first vertical line here. Then we have the second vertical line here. Then 2 horizontal lines. This is horizontal line, and this is the second horizontal line. And 2 hidden lines. This line and this line. So for doing that, for putting that in this plan, that means they will give you 1.5 marks. They give you 1.5 marks. And then Roman figure 4 says that for indicating the direction of view 45 degrees to the horizontal, you have half mark. So this is what they mean, that you are indicating the direction of view at an angle of 45 degrees, you'll be given half mark for doing that. So that is part A of the solution to that question on auxiliary views. Now, part B here. So we come to part B, drawing the auxiliary elevation. Drawing the auxiliary elevation. Where is the auxiliary elevation? This is the auxiliary elevation. So for doing this, that is what we want to look at, the marks awarded to this particular part, which they call auxiliary elevation. Now here we have that for dividing, Roman figure 1 says that for dividing the semicircle into a number of equal parts, you have 1 mark. So the semicircle that they are talking about, this is it, this semicircle. So for dividing it into a number of equal parts, this is divided into 6. So for dividing this semicircle into a number of equal parts, you have 1 mark. And then Roman figure says that for projecting horizontal lines from point in the front elevation to draw the vertical coordinate on line KF with reference to XY line, XY axis, you have 1 mark. So for projecting horizontal lines from point in the front elevation to draw the vertical coordinate on line KF with reference to XY axis, you have 1 mark. So where is the line? So where is the line that we're talking about? So this is line KF. This is line KF. This line, this horizontal line is line KF. So for drawing these horizontal lines from the point on the semicircle to this point, to this side here, so we have 1 mark for drawing that. And then, so the next thing that we have here, which is Roman figure 3, is that for projecting down from the divisional points on the semicircle to plan, you have half mark. So let's look at that. Let's look at that. So for projecting vertical lines from the point on this semicircle to the plan, so you have half mark for that. So all these vertical lines, this line, this line, this line, this line, and this line. So for projecting them down into the plan, you'll be given half mark. Then Roman figure 4 says that for drawing auxiliary lines from points on the semicircle at angle 45 degrees to the horizontal, for drawing auxiliary lines from point on the semicircle at 45 degrees to the horizontal. So what do they mean by that? We have to look at the diagrams. So these lines that we have here, these lines are the lines that they are talking about. So the point on the semicircle, these are the points on the semicircle. So for drawing these lines at an angle of 45 degrees, you'll be given that particular mark awarded to it. That is what the marks that are awarded to that. We have 2 marks for doing that. The Roman figure 5 says that for drawing X1, Y1 axis, second ground line perpendicular to the projected auxiliary lines, you have 1 mark. So where is X1, Y1 axis as the ground line? This is the line. This is X1, this is Y1. And this line must be drawn perpendicular to these auxiliary lines. So this line x1, y1 must be at the right angle to this line, to these lines of views of auxiliary lines. So it must be at right angle to it. Then we have Roman figure 6 says that for replicating vertical coordinates from KF on the line on the x1, y1 axis, you have 1 mark. So where are those lines that you're asked to produce? The vertical lines that you're asked to produce. So these are the lines. These are the lines that they are talking about. These are the lines that you produce these lines like this. You produce them. And how do you produce this line? Is by taking the point distance from here to here with your compass, and you come to this point x1 here, and you make an arc here. So you do the same thing from this point to H, you bring it to this point, and you make an arc here, and you continue like that. Okay. Then the next one that we have here is that for transferring corresponding distances of the front elevation on x, y axis to locate the point for the auxiliary elevation on x1, y1 axis, you have 2 marks. I think that's what I just explained right now. That's what I just explained now. For transferring this point onto this to this line on x1, y1 line, so we have what? We have 2 marks awarded to this. Now, the next one that we have here, for joining the points to draw the auxiliary elevation on x1, y1 axis. Okay, now it is divided into 3 parts or into 5 parts. As you can see here, phase A, 1 mark. So phase A, 1 mark. So where is phase A? So for joining the point together to get this phase A here, this is this rectangle. So you have 1 mark for that. And also for producing phase B, you have 1.5 mark. So phase B that we have here, this is phase B in the whole of this. That is phase B. So you have 1.5 mark. And for phase C, you have 1 mark. So phase C here, we have this semicircles or this arcs. So we have this arcs. So that gives us phase C. And then okay, so curve 1 hidden line. So we have this curve 1 hidden line. You have what? We have 1 mark for that, and 2 straight hidden lines. You have 1 mark for that. 2 straight hidden lines. You have 1 mark for that. So that is what we have. There's 2 straight hidden lines. That is this line. This line here. So you have what? We have 1 mark for that. And then, so the last thing that we have here for that is C of this. We have for neatness and quality of lines work. So neatness, if your work is neat and use the right lines for the work, so we'll be given 2 marks. And then here we have that note for not drawing auxiliary lines at angle 45 degrees to the horizontal, deduct 1 mark. So if you do not draw the line, the auxiliary lines at angle 45 degrees to the horizontal, 1 mark will be deducted. And if you look at everything that we have done here, all these marks added together is equal to 20 marks. So if the work is perfectly done, you draw everything as you're supposed to draw it, you use the right lines, and also your paper, your work is neat, you'll be given 20 marks for doing this work. So that is question 1 on this marking guide. Now let's look at question 2. So this is question 2, and this question 2 has to do with triangular lamina, and this is what they are given. So that these are the views that they are given. This one, this is the front elevation, and this is the plan. So, and here we have that part A of this says that copying the given views. For drawing the XY axis, half mark. For drawing the XY axis, half mark. So where is XY axis? This is it. This line is XY axis. For drawing that, you have what? You have half mark on that. And then for drawing the plan correctly, So this is the plan. So if you draw this plan correctly using the dimensions they give you, so we have what we have. How many marks is that? We all have 1.5 marks. And for drawing the front elevation, you have 1.5 mark for that. This is the front elevation. If you draw this front elevation as given to you using the dimensions given to you, you have 1.5 mark for that. Then part B, drawing the first auxiliary elevation. So Roman figure says that for drawing the horizontal line from R1 to RT1, for R1 to T1 in the front elevation, you have half mark. So for drawing horizontal line, so where is that horizontal line? So from R1 to T1. So this line, this is the horizontal line they are talking about. For drawing this horizontal line from R1 to T1, you have half mark for that. And then we also have that for projecting down from T1 to T in the plan, you have half mark. So for drawing that vertical line from T1 down to the plan to locate this point T, you have half mark for that. And then the next one that we have here is that for joining lines R to T and produce, you have half mark for that. So for drawing this line from R to T, you have, and then you produce it forward like this. So you have half mark for that. Then the next one that we have here, that for drawing lines from Q and P parallel to line RT, produced and extending the lines 1 mark. So where are those lines? For drawing this line parallel to line RT, this line here from Q parallel to this line, and also for drawing this line from P parallel to this line RT, you have 1 mark for doing that. And then the next one that we have here is that we have for drawing X1, Y1 axis perpendicular to the parallel lines from point P, Q, and R. So let's look at it. So this is line X1, Y1. So for drawing this line, so there is a mark awarded to that, and that mark is half mark. Then 4, we have 6. For locating point Q2, R2, and P2 as corresponding distances of Q1, R1, and P1 from X, Y axis, you have 1.5 marks for that. So where are those lines? So for drawing this line, you have this line. This is point Q2, R2, and P2. So for drawing this line, you have marks for that. And what is that mark given to that? That is 1 mark. Then we come to part C of the solution to this problem. So the marks awarded for this, where we have that drawing the second auxiliary elevation tree shape of the triangular lamina. For drawing X2, Y2 at this parallel to Q2, P2, you have half mark for that. So where is that? So we have so this is what we have here. So here we have this. So for drawing this, you have marks for that. And then for drawing perpendicular lines from point Q2, R2, and P2, from point Q2, R2, and P2 perpendicular lines. So they are talking about these lines, these 3 lines here, this line, and this line. So for drawing these lines, you have marks awarded to that, and the marks awarded to that is so we have 1.5 marks for that, and 6. So for joining point Q3, R3, and P3 to obtain the true shape of the triangular lamina, you have 1.5 marks. So after you have located this point, so by joining them together, you have 1.5 marks together when you produce the shape. And then as part C here, we have for measuring and stating the angle of inclination to the horizontal plane as angle Q2 x1 y1, which is equal to 48 degrees plus plus or minus 1 degree. You have 1.5 marks for that. And for measuring and stating the length of sides, P3 Q3 equals 68 plus or minus 1, Q3 R3 49 plus or minus 1, and R3 P3 is equal to 72 plus or minus 1. You have 3 marks for that. And for neatness and quality of lines work, you have 2 marks. So your work should be neat and you should use the right lines for the work so that you can have your full marks. So the total marks for this is 20 marks. Total marks for this is 20 marks. So this is an alternative method. These are alternative method, and then the marks awarded to each step that you take is what we see here is also 20 marks. So whether you use the other method or use this method, each one that you do will give you 20, or any one that you do will give you 20 marks. And then this is another one, another solution to the question. So here we have what this also has to do with auxiliary views, and then the marks awarded to this. So we have them here. We have them here. So the marks awarded to this, we have them here. And then the last one that we have here, so the last one, 20 marks. This one is also 20 marks. So, and then, so the last one that we have here is on cycloid. It's on cycloid. So if you look at this, so each step that you take here has its own marks. It has its own marks. As you can see here, it has its own marks. So 1 mark, 2 marks. So every step that you take has its own mark. And then the total score or total marks here is 20 marks. So all you need to do is to do the right thing where you're supposed to use tick continuous line, use tick continuous line. Where you're supposed to use tick continuous line, use tick continuous line. Where you're supposed to use thin long chain line, use thin long chain line. Where you are supposed to draw a thin continuous line as a projection line, as an extension line. When you are dimensioning, you are supposed to use thin continuous line with arrowhead. If you use the right lines and your work is made, you surely and definitely be given the full mark awarded to this particular question. And thank you for listening, and thank you for watching. Keep on practicing and keep on studying. Thank you, and God bless you.